Good morning, and welcome to the June 13th Sunday service of the Unitarian Universalist Church of St. Petersburg. My name is John Motter, and I'm a member of this church and also on its worship committee. A UU congregation is a place for all souls, all ages, genders, loves, colors, abilities, struggles, education, beliefs, questions, and hopes. Our congregations are devoted to promoting spiritual growth and caring community, learning from all peoples and from our own life experiences. As we wrap up the second week of Pride, please remember that yesterday was the 5th anniversary of the Pulse nightclub shooting, in which 49 people were killed and 53 wounded. Also, next Saturday is Juneteenth. It is the celebration of the emancipation of the slaves. And I'm sure everyone will be happy to know that you have a chance to go home and spend some time outside, because today is recognized National Weed Your Garden Day.
Good morning. I'm Susan Bernor, and I'm representing the interim minister search team this morning. The other members are Sally Carville, Sharon Winters, and Paul Craig. I know that everyone who's been following our search is anxious to know who is coming when, and I regret that we can't answer those questions yet. We've been through the 2 rounds of searching that the UUA manages, and though we've met some very appealing candidates, our matches through that process haven't worked out. As a team, it has been disappointing, but we've realized very definitely that our church is in a strong position for the future. Maybe not with a full-time interim UUA minister arriving immediately, but with all kinds of resources from within and outside our own congregation, the Tampa Bay area, and UUA. It's going to take longer than we'd hoped, but we're confident that we'll find the people to help us professionally with our 3 key areas: our transition from Jack's ministry to the next, the running of the church, and professional pastoral care along with Sunday morning services. We ask for and appreciate your patience and support. We're so fortunate to have a strong worship committee led by Bill Motter, dedicated to bringing us Sunday morning services throughout the summer, which is not unusual for us in any year. And we're looking forward to a great in-person and online service in the sanctuary with Pastor Jack before his farewell celebration on June 27th. Thank you for being such a wonderful congregation. It's an honor to represent you in this process.
A couple of things to note about viewing our services on YouTube. Closed captioning is available. On most devices and operating systems, you'll find the CC icon on the lower right portion of your screen. If you are watching the premiere live, then you can use the chat feature in the window next to the video. If you are viewing it at a later time, you can still read the chat transcript by clicking on the Show Chat Replay button to the right of the video. I hope that all of you watching will find something that helps you grow spiritually, both individually and as a member of the greater community. Your presence is needed and wanted as we work towards building a blessed community. And finally, I'd like to thank John and James for the music and video editing, Janae Johnson for the Times for All Ages story, Bill Motter and Ruth Bentley for their readings, and especially the Reverend Patricia Owens for taking the time to plan and lead today's service. And now, our chalice lighting and covenant.
I'm Ruth Bentley.
And I'm Bill Motter. We're members of this church and happy you are with us this morning. The flaming chalice is a symbol of hope, the sacred, the quest for truth, the warmth of community, the light of reason, and more. We say our covenant along with the chalice lighting to create a reverent space for reflection, prayer or meditation, and singing. Please join us in reciting the covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. And now John will read the invocation.
Our invocation, entitled Community Means Strength, was written by author, activist, and teacher Starhawk. We are all longing to go home to some place we have never been, a place half remembered and half envisioned. We can only catch glimpses of this from time to time. Community. Somewhere, there are people to whom we can speak with passion without having the words catch in our throats. Somewhere, a circle of hands will open to receive us. Eyes will light up as we enter. Voices will celebrate with us whenever we come into our own power. Community means strength that joins our strength to do the work that needs to be done. Arms to hold us when we falter. A circle of healing. A circle of friends. Some place where we can be free. We'll now sing hymn 131, Love Will Guide Us, followed by A Time for All Ages with Janae Johnson.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way. On the road from greed to giving, love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way. On the road from greed to giving, love will guide us through the hard night.
Good morning. My name is Janae Johnson, and I'm your Religious Education and Communications Coordinator here at UU St. Pete. I got a story for all ages for you this morning. So, do you think just one person can make a difference in the world? Can what you do today affect someone's tomorrow? Can what you do today affect the life of a person in this city, this state, in this country, or even across the globe? If you say yes to any of these things, then I think that you have the right answer. Now today I'm going to share a story with you all regarding a boy named Joshua Williams, who was just 4 years old, who decided that he wanted to make a difference. Joshua, with the help of his mom, had began collecting food and some things that we just need in our day-to-day to help give to people who are in need. Now doesn't that sound familiar to you? Well, it should, because all of you have helped out in some shape or form in bringing that to our UU. Now, I know two of our special RE kids actually opened up a lemonade stand at their home and gathered funds and gave them to Miss Savine and Miss Jerry for our Friday night picnic, which happens every Friday, by the way. Now, it's pretty amazing to do what you care to do for other people and, just make sure people have food to eat. So, over time, going back to Joshua, he collected more and more food, but he could not do it all. So, he had other people help him. Many kids, just like himself, even joined in. He thought it was important for kids to help out. Now, why do you think that's so, for it to be important for kids to help? He knew that it made him feel good to help other people. So after all, news stations, newspapers, all types of media started to come out and get so many interviews and give him so many rewards and certifications for what he was doing. But do you think that is why he started to help people? To be rewarded for it? Part of it might be, but I think there was a deeper root as to why he wanted to do that. I think that came from here and here. Now, over the time, how do you feel when you collect food here for our church? How do you feel when you bring it in and you see people take it and say thank you? Why should young people in particular help others? Why do you help others? Is it to be rewarded, or is it to feel good, or is it because you can, or is it all three, or 2 out of 3? Now, going back to Joshua, since he started, his organization, Joshua's Heart Foundation, had raised over $1 million to stomp out hunger. He also had fed 500,000 meals to people and also helped 420,000 families get what they need. That is pretty amazing, from the heart of a once 4-year-old boy to now have transformed and continue to help in such a thriving way, right? Did he do that all on his own? Nope, he had help. So, just like here at the church, things happen and we have to change what we do. Change or transition can be easy or difficult. It all depends on what the change is. Now, do we still collect food each month? Yes, but it's not as easy as it was when we was rolling that red wagon down the aisle in our church now, is it? Not necessarily, but we've still managed to make things happen. So raising money by selling lemonade is a way to transition, or maybe inspiring Miss Virginia Fox to help others collect food for the Southside Food Bridge. Now Joshua, going back to Joshua, he's about to start college now, and he's been looking at how he would transition to college life and how his organization is going to continue to get ran. Now, he knows he won't be there every day to oversee the operations, but he has inspired over 25,000 youth to keep up this mission that he had began when he was just 4 years old. Now, let's really bring it back in. You will go through many transitions in life. That doesn't stop. Change always happens. We look at our seasons change. Maybe not in Florida so much as, gradually different in other states, but I think you get my point. But these changes can be easy. Some be made easy, some be made difficult, but that's part of it. And the beautiful thing is, if you stay true to your beliefs, I know you'll do great things like Joshua. So with this just all starting with just a 4-year-old little kid, that is now an organization that operates in 3 states and 7 different countries. 3 states, 7 different countries is what I said. That 4-year-old boy dropped a stone into water. Just one little stone will always cause waves to ripple out across the water and create change. So you may not be able to see the ripples that travel further out, but know that those ripples are continuing to change the world. So I hope you guys all take that to heart and really take heed to the message of change that we have shared today. Thank you so much, John Motter, for providing this story for us to share. You guys have a beautiful remaining of the service and have an extraordinary day. Be blessed. Bye.
It's time for Joys and Concerns. This is a time that people would normally come to the front of the church and share any joys or concerns that they may have. We didn't have any joys and concerns sent in, but this is your opportunity that if you didn't forward them to Pastor Jack, then feel free to type them into the comments section on YouTube, or you can still forward them and they'll be read for next week's service. Our first reading is from Blue Light by Walter Mosley. We are not trapped or locked up in these bones. No. We are free to change, and love changes us. And if we can love one another, we can break open the sky. And now, John and James with the anthem.
If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place in time again. If not now, tell me when. I see sorrow and trouble in this land. I see sorrow and trouble in this land. Although there will be struggle, we'll make the change we can. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place in time again. If not now, tell me when. I may never see the promised land. I may never see the promised land. And yet we'll take the journey and walk it hand in hand. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. Tell me when. If not now, tell me when. Tell me when. We may never see this moment or place in time again. If not now, tell me when. We'll work it till it's done. Every daughter, every son, every soul that ever longed for something better, something brighter. It will take a change of heart for this to mend. It will take a change of heart for this to mend. But miracles do happen, every shining now and then. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. Tell me when. If not now, tell me when. Tell me when. We may never see this moment or place in time again. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place in time again. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when.
Our second reading, The Butterfly Effect, was written by Dana Capasso. It was included in the UUA book, Becoming a Spiritual Guide for Navigating Young Adulthood. The delicate flapping wings of a butterfly have the power to set molecules of air in motion, in turn, moving more molecules of air, a tiny act that is eventually capable of affecting weather patterns on the other side of the planet. This notion comes from a concept within chaos theory called the butterfly effect. Simply, the butterfly effect refers to a phenomenon in our world in which a small change in one place can result in equal or greater changes elsewhere. This may seem crazy, a tiny butterfly changing global weather patterns. Not only is the butterfly effect a real scientific theory, but it's also an intriguing philosophical idea. I say all this because the butterfly effect affects the way I live my life and the decisions that I make in a way that no ideas about God ever have. I'm no meteorologist, nor am I well versed in entomology, but ever since learning about the butterfly effect, I have been attracted to it because it demonstrates an important principle that is often forgotten. Namely, each of our actions has effects that are more profound than we think. Interconnection is a major theme found in nearly all of the world's religious and philosophical traditions. The interconnectedness of our universe is also one of the most significant revelations of physics. All components of matter are interconnected, interrelated, and interdependent. As Unitarian Universalists, we affirm and promote our responsibility to remain aware of the interconnection through our seventh principle, respect for the interdependent life, or the interdependent web of all existence. Attention to interconnectivity reminds me, despite the many socio-political forces that work to divide us from one another, that I'm never alone in this world. It reminds me that each decision or action I make has reactions, and that those reactions reverberate as waves moving back and forth across our globe. This compels me to live my life aware of the consequences of my daily actions, from the purchases I make to the personal interactions with others. I certainly do not always succeed, but I try. My awareness of interconnectivity and efforts to work against the illusion of division remain my most significant spiritual practice. This spiritual practice also gives me the ability to stand in awe of interconnection, in awe of the butterfly effect and the power that comes with it. On rare occasions, I am reminded to stop and appreciate the divinity of interconnectivity revealed before my very eyes. This to me is awe-inspiring. This to me is divine. Now, we are very lucky today to have Reverend Patricia Owens as our guest in the pulpit. I didn't realize it until a picture of her popped up on the Google search I was doing in order to have some background information to introduce her. I, along with some of you, were lucky to attend the Death Cafe held just before COVID shut everything down. Reverend Patricia was Nan White's co-facilitator for the cafe. She provided great wisdom for the cafe, and so I'm truly excited to hear what she shares with us today. And with that, here's Reverend Patricia.
Good morning, everyone. I am happy to share this time with you on this beautiful Sunday morning. I am the Reverend Patricia Owen, and I bring you warm greetings from across the bridge in Tampa. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share a reflection with you this morning, and I offer up a special thanks to all of those who are working really hard to make these services possible during a pretty challenging time. Although we here in Florida are not experiencing them, I am betting we have all heard of the plight of our neighbors further to the north, cicadas. Every 17 years, cicadas make their appearance. I remember living through a cycle of cicadas when I was a kid, and I don't miss them. They are loud and destructive, demanding attention with their invasive noise. If you have ever been subjected to their summer of terror, you understand how horrible they really are. The impact cicadas have is far-reaching. Years after they hatch out, the landscape changes from the damage they leave behind. Thank goodness they only show up every 17 years. The last year and a half has been filled with all sorts of far-reaching changes and devastation, hasn't it? Pandemic, plagues of cicadas, record-breaking hurricanes. Many of us have not seen loved ones for months. Perhaps we lost someone we love and have really been unable to be together to mourn. The ability to gather in community has been stifled. I don't know about you, but being around people now feels a little different. Things have changed in a very significant way. Our reading this morning, entitled The Butterfly Effect, struck me for a couple of reasons. It reminds me that the smallest of changes can have long-lasting impact. But most important, it reminds me that change, like the ebbing and flowing of the tides, like the phases of the moon, change is inevitable. Change going to come. I consider myself to be an urban homesteader. I grow lots of flowers and lots of vegetables. Nothing teaches me to be more accepting of the inevitability of change, like my garden. Just last weekend, I pulled tomato plants to make room for okra and black-eyed peas. Conditions have changed. Gardening is filled with adjustments and acceptance that at any moment I am dealing with failure and celebrating beauty all on the same day. Since early 2020, we have all been in a constant stance of hyper-awareness to change and to the unknown. It takes a toll, doesn't it? But as much of a toll that these last long months have taken, I am convinced that we are also being given opportunities to grow, to learn, and to embrace good change. I began my job with the University of South Florida during the pandemic. I've worked remotely since last July. The institution is preparing to return to in-person operations later this month. After all the myriad of adjustments to teaching online, to present classes virtually, to conduct the business of a large institution solely from laptops and home offices, I ask myself whether we will abandon all the things that we have learned during the pandemic. I hope not. This pandemic has fundamentally changed higher education. It has fundamentally changed churches too. Churches, just like you, have had to make massive adjustments. Virtual worship, virtual meetings, and coffee hours. I ask myself whether you will abandon all the things you have learned. I hope not. It will be the easiest thing in the world to get back to normal. But we, I believe, must pause and remember that what may be normal for us feels very uncomfortable for others. Normal, I think, is another way of maintaining the status quo. And status quo should be something that a growing, responsive, Unitarian Universalist church should never want. In my role as outreach coordinator for student accessibility services, I have the pleasure of developing training that addresses issues of accessibility and ableism. I work with faculty, staff, and students to educate and advocate for awareness and understanding around how our culture is inherently built around those considered able-bodied and able-minded. Perhaps the most important, powerful lesson that I have learned during this past 11 months is this. I must check the assumption that gathering in person feels normal for everyone. I have had the pleasure of working with neurodivergent students who have eloquently spoken to the positive sides of virtual learning and online communities. For those unfamiliar with the term neurodivergent, it applies to the population that has been diagnosed with autism and Asperger's. Even for those considered high-functioning, in-person interactions can prove exhausting. eye contact can be difficult. Think about how many of us make snap judgments about those unable to look us in the eye. Holding in-person conversations can be virtually impossible. However, online conversation open space and make it better for these individuals. At a time when so many changes have been forced upon us, perhaps we should ask ourselves whether these changes have positively impacted everyone in our community. Perhaps we should ask whether our normal kept people from our table. Maybe we should ask whether virtual worship has expanded our accessibility. As your Unitarian Universalist community prepares to engage with your future, my hope is that you will engage fully with possibilities, especially as we begin to reintegrate with in-person gathering. Wendell Berry writes, "We must change our lives so that it will be possible to live by the contrary assumption that what is good for the world will be good for us. And that requires that we make the effort to know the world and to learn what is good for it." The mission statement for UU St. Pete begins by saying our mission is to be an inclusive, evolving religious community. To be fully inclusive and evolving requires so much of us, but that requirement can be filled with opportunities for growth born from a difficult time. What might the next generation of inclusivity include? What trajectory of evolution is Unitarian Universalism taking? Change gonna come, friends, no matter what we do or say. Let us engage fully with the work of reimagining a beloved community that is responsive to that change, that is engaged with the possibilities of communities yet to be. I invite you to join me in a moment of reflection and prayer. Spirit of mystery and holy change, be with us as we engage with all that is unknown. Help us know that change is inevitable and remind us to remember that our communities rely on our brave and insightful questions to ensure a strong tomorrow. May this community continue its journey in creating space that is radically inclusive. May it experience holy restlessness that compels it to evolve, and may it resolve to be loving and just and filled with the spirit of joy and equity. Blessed be. Have a beautiful Sunday. Amen.
To keep our congregation thriving, let's remember our connections to one another and not forget our offerings to support the means to those connections. As we listen to our brief offering music, please click on the eye in the upper right-hand corner of your screen to make a contribution. You can also donate through the Gift Plus app via our webpage under the Giving tab or by sending a check to the church office. Thank you so much for all your support and your continuing support.
And now, as our service ends, we pass the flame of our chalice lamp to each other as we say together, "We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of courage. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world."
Our benediction is entitled Closing Words for Hard Times, and it's written by Maureen Killoran. No matter how weak or how frightened we may feel, we each have gifts that can make a difference in the world. In this coming week, may you do at least one thing to support the broken, to welcome the stranger, to celebrate what is worthy, to do the work of justice and love. Be strong, be connected. Each day act so you may be a little more whole. Thank you, everyone, for coming together this morning. Please stay safe and well through the week. We hope you can join us right after the service for the Zoom coffee hour. The meeting information will be shown on your screen in just a few minutes. And now our final music to see us out.